Their name is BlackRock, and they manage more money than the entire GDP of the United States. Let that sink in for a second. One firm, $10 trillion. More wealth under one roof than any institution in the history of human civilization. So how did this happen, and why does almost nobody talk about it? Let's go back to where it all started. The year is 1988. 8 people squeeze into a small office in New York City. No fancy headquarters, no long history. Just a group of financial professionals with a single idea: manage risk better than everyone else. One of those 8 people was a man named Larry Fink. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't on magazine covers, but he understood something most people in finance didn't. He understood fear. Specifically, he understood the fear that keeps investors awake at night, the fear of losing everything. And he built a business around solving that fear. Here's the simple version of what BlackRock actually does. Imagine 100 different people. Each one has money they want to grow. Some are retired teachers. Some are pension funds protecting the savings of thousands of workers. Some are governments investing national reserves. They all want their money to work, but none of them want to gamble. So they hand their money to BlackRock and say, "Manage this for us. Don't lose it, grow it wisely." BlackRock takes all that money, pools it together, and invests it across thousands of companies worldwide, spreading the risk so thin that no single disaster can wipe anyone out. That's the core idea, and it worked. But here's where the story gets much bigger. BlackRock didn't just grow, they became the backbone of the entire financial system, and the moment that really changed everything came in 2008. The global financial crisis hit like a bomb. Banks collapsed, markets froze, governments were terrified. Nobody knew which banks were healthy and which were secretly drowning in toxic debt. And then world leaders started making phone calls. Not to each other, to BlackRock. The US Federal Reserve hired BlackRock to help clean up the mess. So did the European Central Bank. So did governments across the world. Because BlackRock had something nobody else had, a technology system called Aladdin. Aladdin isn't a magic lamp, but it might as well be. It's a risk management software so powerful that it monitors over $21 trillion in assets globally every day. It runs millions of calculations. It tells investors exactly how much risk is hiding inside their portfolios. It sees things human analysts simply can't see at that scale. And here's the wild part. BlackRock doesn't just use Aladdin for themselves. They license it to other banks, insurance companies, and pension funds, which means BlackRock's technology is quietly sitting inside the financial decisions of institutions all over the planet. They don't just manage money, they manage the systems that manage money. Now let's talk about what this actually means in the real world. When BlackRock owns shares in thousands of companies simultaneously, Apple, Microsoft, ExxonMobil, Bank of America, and thousands more, they become one of the largest shareholders in each of those companies. Here is the uncomfortable truth. In the modern economy, there are governments, and then there are institutions so large, so deeply connected to the global financial system that their decisions ripple outward in ways that affect ordinary people who have never heard their name. When BlackRock shifts its investment strategy, stock markets react. When Aladdin updates its risk models, trillions of dollars reposition themselves. When Larry Fink writes his annual letter, boardrooms across the world adjust their priorities. That's not a conspiracy, it's just the math of scale. So, what's the lesson here? The first lesson is about compounding power. BlackRock didn't become dominant through any single dramatic moment. It grew steadily, quietly, by being useful, by solving problems others couldn't. First for investors, then for governments, then for the entire system. Power doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it builds in the background while nobody's watching. The second lesson is about the relationship between money and influence. In a world where capital flows freely across borders, the people and institutions that manage that capital don't just make financial decisions, they make decisions that shape industries, policies, and lives. Understanding who holds that capital and how they use it isn't just interesting, it's essential. The third lesson is the most personal. Every pension fund, every retirement account, every index fund that ordinary people invest in, there's a very good chance BlackRock is involved somewhere in that chain. Their rise isn't just a Wall Street story. It's woven into the financial future of millions of regular people who simply wanted their savings to grow. You may never do business with BlackRock directly, but the odds are high that BlackRock has done business with your money. That's the world we live in now, and the first step to navigating it is simply knowing it exists. The most powerful forces in your life are often the ones you never see coming.